Yemeni protesters are continuing to celebrate the departure of President Ali Abdullah Saleh from the country. President Saleh was injured in a shell attack on his compound on Friday and is recovering in Saudi Arabia from an operation to remove shrapnel from his chest. An opposition party coalition has backed an interim transition of power to the vice president, who's now acting leader, but only as a first step. Middle East correspondent Ben Knight reports.
Yemenis have been protesting here for months. Some of them died doing it. But now in the block that they call Change Square, Yemenis are celebrating. But officially, there's nothing to actually celebrate. The president is still the president, and he's only temporarily passed on his powers to his deputy. The regime is still in place, and the president's advisers say Ali Abdullah Saleh will be back.
The president will return to the capital, Sana'a, after he has recovered from the injuries and the burns that he suffered. He will return back with God's will and will come back to resume his duties according to the Constitution.
But there don't appear to be many who do believe that Ali Abdullah Saleh will return, or even if he does, that he'll be able to resume his post as president. And the sight of government soldiers joining the celebrations in the square makes it look even less likely. But there are serious questions over what comes next in Yemen. The protesters might be cheering, but it wasn't them in the end that brought this about. It was the military force of powerful tribal leaders, some of whom have their own designs on power. And there are reports that President Saleh's son is still in the capital and preparing his own campaign to take over. The people in Change Square are not likely to be happy at the idea of replacing one hard man with another, wherever he comes from. One opposition leader is calling for unity to stop that from happening.
The Planning Committee is calling on all the national forces and political parties to start forming an interim presidential council, which will represent all the national groups. This council should form a national government and draft a new constitution which meets the demands of the Yemeni people for freedom and well-being.
Stabilising Yemen is crucial to stop it becoming a failed state and a base for international terrorists. Already, Islamic militants, including Al-Qaeda, have managed to take advantage of the chaos in Yemen to increase their power. Several cities and provinces are now beyond government control, and there are reports of sporadic fighting continuing between government forces and tribal fighters. Even in the capital, some demonstrators have formed citizen patrols to put an end to looting.
We came out peacefully. We continued being peaceful. But when security forces pulled out, we had to protect their government buildings, the squares. The people are subjected to danger.
For now, no one appears to be making a significant move to assume power. But the world is watching. The US ambassador has already met with Yemeni military commanders. But the country most concerned is neighbouring Saudi Arabia, which is likely to be deeply involved in shaping whatever the future Yemen will look like. Ben Knight, Late Line.